10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this December 11th, 2017 afternoon. Chris, not a lot going on in the bodybuilding world, but we did have some drama out in Dubai. We'll talk about it in a little bit. We are officially 11 days away from the birth of my daughter. And although it could happen before that, and I do know that India Paulino gave birth, I believe, within the last couple of days. My wife follows her, and her baby was born a little premature. I guess they must have induced her early because they felt the baby wasn't growing enough, and it seems to be doing well. So congratulations to India Paulino. Actually, her boyfriend, husband, I'm not sure if they're married, Whitney Reed. He's a men's physique pro guy, and so they're gonna have some good genetics on that little baby.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
What do I say to you before we started? I said, you having a boy, Dave, you having a boy or girl? I couldn't remember. You said what?
Girl. You know what the problem is? We haven't gotten we haven't gotten an official name yet. That's why. So I think it hasn't solidified itself in your head. I'm pushing towards Aria, and my wife is almost convinced that that's okay. She's been asking.
That's a hotel near the Olympia, right?
It is, exactly. But it's like an Italian name. My wife's been asking like all the people, like they come into the house, like, and she talks to on the phone, and all the people who buy product from us, like they know all the stuff. They listen to the radio show, and they're like, we think this is a good name. So far everyone's liked Aria, so I think that might be the way we go.
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice name.
Yeah, I think it goes well with the last name. Your first name
does
has
go.
to,
I agree
right?
with you. Aria Palumbo sounds very nice.
Yeah, it has to match the last name, because sometimes you have a good name, but it doesn't sound good as a last name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Like I was thinking, like Axl Rose is a great name, right? Even though that's not his real name, but Axl Rose is a great name. But if his last name was Palumbo, Axel Palumbo would not have sounded so cool. You know, Axel Aceto might be good. If you have another son, you might consider using that name.
That one sounds a little dangerous. Too many A's in there.
Axel Aceto, I like it. AA. And it almost sounds like William Bonac. That's a pretty aggressive
name.
Yeah, tough.
Bonac. Sounds like Sledgehammer.
Speaking of William Bonac, this past weekend out in Dubai, they had that Dubai Muscle Expo, which seems to be growing into a huge event. I'm almost jealous that I didn't get to go. I went to left anyway because my wife could give birth any day, but I'm jealous because it was a star-studded event out there. Ronnie Coleman was there, Cutler was there, Big Ramy was there, Cedric was there, Sadiq was there. I saw that. I don't know if you saw Kai Green. Did you see him guest posing? Did you send me? You sent me the pictures.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
What was he, like 285? It's huge.
He's round.
You look at him and you're like, how's this guy not Mr. Olympia, right?
I know. You know what? It's so funny, Dave. When I saw that, I thought the same exact thing.
Like if you put if you had Phil Heath out there, I don't know if he was out there or not. I mean, and there's no way
he'd look 90 times better than Phil.
Right. I mean, there's no way on stage you see those two and you're like, oh, that guy must be Mr. Olympia. If you don't know anything about bodybuilding, you look at Kai Green, you're like, that guy must be Mr. Olympia, right?
Yeah, well, he looks like a superhero.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I think it's weird that at the Olympia it's the same old. Phil beats him on the last shot of the show, always the most muscular.
Well, Phil hasn't beaten him the last 2-3 years because Kai hasn't been there. So to be
I thought of that too. For him not being the Olympia is just. I hear he's doing the Arnold.
You did? Who told you that?
I don't know. I can't remember, but
he might as well. He's in good shape, right?
Well, he's in his all-time best Pittsburgh shape.
Would he have beaten Cedric?
Usually he
at the San Marino show, the way he looked.
I'll tell you this: if you would look at him and say absolutely yes, but you have to backtrack to like the Arnold 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Kai looked pretty damn good. Cedric opens up more, and his height, plays a big advantage, and his
With small waist
structure, smaller waist, and his. Well, I wouldn't say it's his, but Kai looks squatty in a way sometimes, unless he's like peeled out of his mind.
Yeah.
So Kai has to be peeled out of his mind to like maximize that physique.
He was pretty
But he
crazy.
has. I mean, look there. The flip side to that is in Kai's bag of tricks is more thickness per square inch than a lot of people. I mean, everyone really.
When I competed, I had promoters would tell me, guys like Gary Udit, even at certain guest postings I would do at certain times of year, I just, for some reason, who knows what I did, what I ate the day before, or how it's impossible to know, but they would see me on stage, they'd be like, you could win a pro show looking like this. And I'm not talking about like just regular Joe Blow. I'm talking about like top promoters, who are judges and stuff like that. They're like, you should come into the show like this. And who the hell knows what I even did to even look like that?
Well, you're probably big and full and still ripped.
Yeah, yeah. But sometimes it was like a dry, full round. Like it was like a really good look. And even I knew I was a good look. I remember once I guest posed in Erie, PA. That's for my friend Brian Hoydick over there, and everyone was just like, "Holy shit, this is the look you got to bring." And I don't even know what I did. I couldn't duplicate it again if I tried on it. It was just a lucky. I hit it lucky that one night. I don't know, but I was big. And so but then again, you put Kai on stage like he looked this past weekend, and he might not look like you said. Being in guest posing shape is different than being in competition shape.
Yeah.
I saw that Jay and him were screwing around, hitting some shots and stuff like that. Obviously, Jay lost, downsized a lot, but he still looks good. He's in good shape. You could tell he's, keeping himself pretty lean.
He looks ridiculous for what he. I mean, he's probably listened. He'll laugh at this. The most he works. I mean, his hardest workout, or the most amount of reps he does is depositing checks, or writing checks, deposit them and writing them.
No, you know what? I know Jay works. Guaranteed. Jay, look, what does Jay do all day?
In other words, no. My point really is that he looks ridiculously good for.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of I can't even imagine how very little he exerts himself in the gym.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. He's got all this muscle. It's not going away.
That's my point. He's very big for not. And what do you think in the mint julep department? Who's taking more?
Oh,
Samir coined that.
Kai
for
certain.
anabolics.
Kai for certain. I bet you Jay's on like a hormone replacement dosage. He looks, he's downsizing very gradually, which is the right way to do it. That's how I did it. So people don't even realize it really, but he's obviously his legs are a lot smaller than they were, but it's smart because he's getting older.
Well, stop giving advice before we know you with the advice, Dave.
Yeah, wait till we get to that. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? According to Vegan Gains.
No.
Speaking of, I don't want to just let's stay on the Dubai Muscle show first, because we got to talk about Lui Marco versus William Bonac. Now, for those people who have their head in the sand and only listen to this, there are people I know who just only listen to the show. They don't watch any videos online. So I gotta preface Lui Marco.
It's all the cardio people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people tell me, can you put all the videos you guys do on like a podcast? I said, I don't have time to be changing things from video to audio and audio. If you have it on audio only, they want it on video. If you have it on video, they want it on audio. So you can't please everyone. But the radio show will always be a podcast. So that's what it's meant for. So you and I can verbosely speak for hours and hours together. But so Lui Marco is this internet guy who started a channel, and it just took off. He had a weird accent, and it was annoying, but it was at the same time interesting, and it caught on, and a lot of people subscribed to his channel. He's got a ton of subscribers, and while I don't agree with everything he says, I'm impressed that he has the following that he does. And lately he's been traveling to shows, which I kind of think really upped his game a little bit, because at least he's showing his face and reporting what he sees in person, which is impressive to me. Granted, Bader Badai at Oxygen Gym in Kuwait has basically adopted Lui Marco as his media outlet, or I call it the propaganda machine. But you know what? That's fine. Louis getting flown around, and Bader's treating him well, and I think that's good. Look, Louis put a lot of time into his channel, and he's finally making some money, and my hat's off to him. But what he didn't realize is that when you uncensored, when you're uncensored and you basically just say whatever you want about people, whether it be good or bad, whether it be constructive criticism about bodybuilding or just your personal beliefs about what they're doing, to their bodies. Well, when you see these people in person, they're not going to be happy, and a lot of these guys will confront you, and that's exactly what happened this past weekend. Lui Marco was at a booth in Dubai there. I don't know what he was doing, and he was interviewing people, I guess, and William Bonac, decided to confront him. Did you see the video?
Phil, no, but yeah, I did. Phil would have clocked him.
You think? Well, Phil was very pissed off at him after the Olympia.
No, that's why I actually gained a lot of respect for Phil, even though he said something silly today, but about classic bodybuilding. Kind of said it was like less than farm leagues. That's me paraphrasing, but that's really what he meant. When you go out to shows, if you're going to speak the way you want to speak, you're going to have to run across William Bonac's path or Phil Heath's path, and they're not always going to be happy with what you had to say about them.
Yeah. And, rightly so. If you're going to say something about someone, you should have to answer for it. I have no problem answering anything I say about people. They can come up to me and I'll answer to them, because I never make it a personal attack on them. When I'm critiquing them from a bodybuilding standpoint, they don't have to agree with me, but if I think someone's not in shape or they don't have enough muscle in a certain area, or maybe they're not aesthetic, or I'm just giving a reaction to that. I'm not saying they're a terrible person or they're a scumbag or they're a drug dealer or what. Some of these guys go crazy. We'll talk about one of the nut jobs, Vegan Gains, a little later, about how he went crazy on me this past weekend. But when you're really in people's face, because what happens is these guys start off their channel basically. They'll say whatever they want. The more shock appeal, the better, because they figure they're going to get more subscribers, which works well. Now, if you stay in your house and do all your videos from your basement, you're in good shape. But when you start venturing out now and start going to pro shows and expos across the world, you're a target now. And it just is what it is, It is what it is. So
Bonac.
Bonac.
So give me the rundown. So Bonac. You wanted to clock him.
Yeah, I texted Bonac. I Instagrammed him. I don't use Instagram for anything, but I figured I know Bonac's on there a lot, so.
He respond?
Yeah, he did. Let me see what happened. He said, "Oh, I know what happened." So Lui must have said something about him on one of the videos that he did.
Well, let me. He had to target him. We had to target him.
Okay, we'll go into what might have been under.
There's always a reason why.
We will, but
always a reason why.
Let's just say what happened. So he said something about Bonac that he didn't like. So Bonac claims, to me at least, he said that he tried to talk to him, calmly at first, about how he was upset about it, and then Lui was mocking him. He felt he was mocking him, like condescendingly talking to him. Now, I don't know if it's Louis's accent. I didn't hear what Lui said. I put up a video, in my response video of what happened. I did put up the actual video showing, the altercation, but it wasn't complete. So we only saw part of it when Lui, and at that point, Bonac was already, out of his mind, pissed off. So Bonac said he obviously was mocking him, and that's why he lost his cool. The question is, Chris, was Bonac's response to Lui Marco appropriate? Should guys like Lui Marco have to answer to these guys when they get pissed off, or was it too aggressive and was it inappropriate in your mind?
It is. I think Bonac made a mistake by even. I don't. Why is he responding to him at all? What is the point? Right. I mean, right? The point is what?
No. Well, you know what? You make a good point, because
is the expectation that that Lui Marco is important enough in William Bonac's career that he feels like he has to speak with him, or is the expectation that in William Bonac's life he expects to confront him and have him say, meaning Lui Marco say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to do a retraction on my right. YouTube channel."
Yeah.
It's all nonsensical.
So you think he should have just said nothing?
He should have said nothing. What's the point?
Well, Phil Heath was feeding Lui Marco stuff before the Olympia because I guess Phil felt that Lui was his friend.
Well, because he fell for a trap.
Yeah, he fell for a trap, right? But then Lui bashed him after about with the bubble gut bullshit that he likes to do, which the bubble gut is his shtick. And that's how he gets people to listen to his stuff. He invented that term, and as far as I know, and Phil went nuts because Lui was going crazy with the bubble gut stuff. So, and then he lost his cool and did a whole response video to Lui Marco, which probably validated Lui Marco even more because Phil was actually addressing him. But
part of it is be careful who you speak with. I mean, what is Phil doing talking to him?
Well, that's my thing. Why can Phil talk to Lui Marco, but he won't do an interview with RxMuscle? Now I know it's not Phil. I'm sure Phil would do it. It's the whole AMI, media thing contract. Why can Phil talk to everyone but except
Phil can do it
us?
as of Friday. How's that?
What?
Once the AMI gets free, Phil can do it as of Friday.
Oh, is that when his contract's up?
I don't know. I hear the contracts are going away. So.
Well, no one has money to pay these contracts.
Anyways, back on track.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna one of these
days.
The
response was.
So was it appropriate or was it not appropriate? What Bonac did?
It was. I think he wasted his time and energy, and it's odd that the guy who's top 3 in the Olympia this year has any focus other than trying to knock off Ramy and Phil, because anything else is a waste of mental energy. I mean, if you can't figure that out, that keeping your energy conserved and just focusing on your goal. I know some people use negative things to motivate them, but at that level, you think the flip side. You got to think positive things. Positive things would be being Mr. Olympia. I don't think Bonac's going to beat Phil Heath, but the flip side is should be able to focus on the positive, on that goal of winning, not what somebody is saying from their basement in Canada.
Let's dig below the surface here for a minute, okay? We know, number one, and I'm going to ask. I theoretically am going to have Lui Marco interview with him this coming Wednesday. I'm hoping that's what we've agreed on. I probably shouldn't have even said anything about it, but that's all right. Lui has agreed to interview with me, and I think that's cool. I want to get his story because he's the victim a little bit in this. But a lot of people think that what he's doing was shitty, and people are like he deserved it. I'm like, well, I don't want to. I want to reserve judgment because I want to hear what he had to say because I want to hear what his side of the story is. Unfortunately, William was willing to come on the TV show, but he can't because he still has a flex contract that's in effect. I don't know how long it's going to be in effect for, but right now it's in effect, so we don't want him to violate that. But let's go under the scenes for a second. We know Lui Marco has an affiliation with Bader Badai out at Oxygen Gym there. We know that because Bader flew him out there for the show they had out there. He's always feeding him information.
He'll say I flew everyone out there.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
But we know that. I know that Bader loves Lui Marco. He thinks he's basically his propaganda machine. Every time he has something, he leaks it to him, and that's fine. And like I said, Lui Marco deserves to make money. Why not? We also know that William Bonac works for theoretically a competitor of Bader's out there in Kuwait. What's the guy's name? Wawa?
Wawa Nutrition.
Something like that, and they run another organization out there, not the IFBB. So I don't obviously William Bonac's an IFBB pro. I don't know if he represents the nutrition company in some capacity. He represents them out there. So obviously there's bad blood between Bader and that Wawa guy, and obviously Lui Marco is kind of representing Bader, and Bonac is representing the competitor. Do you think there was any underlying tension there because of that?
No, I think the underlying tension is that started in prejudging at the Olympia. We came out of prejudging. We came out of prejudging. Bonac was, there was a lot of surprises, right? There's a lot of storylines to the prejudging of the Olympia. Phil looked dynamite. Ramy was bigger than ever. Bonac was at his all-time best. Broden was off. Cedric's off. And that is really the story of prejudging.
Dexter's off.
Dexter's, not at his all-time best or whatever. I don't want to say off because he might try to pull a Bonac on me when I see him. Anyway, so, we do the wrap-up. I think we got a little bit of experience. Me, you, Chad Nichols. Chad's kind of got a little experience, right? I'm just kidding. Meaning he's worked with tons of people.
Sure.
Samir Bannout, Mr. Olympia. We had Bonac in second place. And I'm sure that infuriated people not in the Ramy camp, and they probably took it, instead of seeing it at face value, black and white, took an emotional response and thought that, I was behind, throwing a dig on Ramy by how dare I not have him winning prejudging. And of course, the prejudging scores when they came out showed that William was strongly in second place, meaning, he didn't have any first place votes, granted, but he was nowhere really near third. I mean, he was comfortably rolling into the finals in second place.
Right. And
I think that, and I don't know, probably, because Lui is up Ramy's, backside. Lui was out there promoting Ramy as being the winner, not third place in the prejudging, right?
Sure. No, he was after.
So you're an athlete, and that's what athletes do. William Bonac, you name it. After prejudging, they're all excited. Everyone's high-fiving William Bonac, William Bonac, William Bonac, William Bonac. William, probably logs on to RxMuscle at some point. I'm guaranteed. Watch the wrap-up. Oh, wow, man. A lot of people have me second place. And then, probably turns on Lui Marco station. Lui probably has him third to sixth. So there's where the bad blood starts.
You might be right. That's probably where you're right.
Well, ask Bonac about it. He might not even be consciously aware of it.
Well, no, I think he's aware of something that Lui said that he confronted him about. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll find out what it is. I'm sure at some point.
But that's
I'm sure Lui knows.
Part of it, Dave.
He must have said it to Lui.
You can't divorce that.
Yeah.
That it's called disrespect. Avoiding what is black and white.
Well, isn't Lui Marco entitled to his own opinion, or unless you're saying it's skewed? Are you saying it's skewed? His opinion?
Well, it's skewed. I mean, everyone's got a skewed opinion, and bodybuilding is mostly opinions anyway. Yeah. But I mean, it's skewed to some degree because when you it depends on who you cozy up to.
Right. Yeah.
Who's your benefactors?
Who's our benefactors? That's what I want to know.
Nobody. That's what you can generally say what you want. I mean, that's why I can say what I want.
How can we have no benefactors, Chris?
Well, that's what makes the show good. Even though people say it's terrible, they hate the show. No, really. I mean, you can say, I don't have to be careful because, oh gosh, I was endorsing that protein company. I said something bad and now they dropped me. Yeah. Or I was with AMI or MD and they dropped me, or blah 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 blah.
Well, I want to go on record and just saying that, first of all, I know you would feel the same way. We both like William Bonac. We think he's a great competitor, and I actually like him as a guy. He's a little hot-headed, but I like him because he's fucking passionate about the way he feels, and he doesn't hold it in. So in that sense, I really like him. In another sense, I have nothing against Lui Marco whatsoever, but he can be, he can push buttons on people. So I don't think anyone should be assaulted. However, I think that's not the right. I mean, we're sophisticated theoretically. We're sophisticated adults here. We're not supposed to be savages, and we don't want to portray ourselves as that. But no one threw any punches. So
why don't you get him on Iron Debate, Lui versus Bonac? Because they're both coming on the show, right? Why don't you just surprise
I don't think Bonac's going to be. We'll have to wait till Bonac's contract runs out before that. But Bonac is look. We've interviewed him before. The guy's got a lot of fire in him, and he believes in himself, and that's great. And like I said, as long as he had no intention of escalating this to a physical altercation, that's fine. And he basically told Lui Marco off, and that was it. What I want to do is I want to find out from Lui Marco what happened, because he obviously knows a lot more than anyone else knows. So we'll get him on the show. I'll find out. and we'll put it to rest. Now, what else did I want to bring up? I got a lot to talk about. I don't even know where to start. So that's the Lui Marco rant. Let's talk about the other internet sensation over there, Vegan Gains, who's a vegetarian who promotes a vegan lifestyle, which I have nothing against. I actually, this guy's got like over about 308,000 subscribers, and I actually like his channel. In certain effects, certain stuff he does. He's kind of entertaining. He probably should be like on Comedy Central because he's got a very sarcastic sense of humor, and what he'll do is he's a Wikipedia maniac. He goes to Wikipedia, he finds all the supporting evidence to basically support whatever his kookamamie or cockamamie argument is for the video that he's doing of the day. And he does a lot of research, and he pulls up a lot of graphics and stuff like that, and he does funny stuff, and most of his stuff is good. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, he did a video on me. Of course, it's never funny when it's about you, but I don't even, normally I don't even care, but it was such a cockamamie crazy video that I had to respond to it. He was basically insinuating that I sold Dallas McCarver the drugs that killed him, and told him
Dave, I did look at Wikipedia, and that was a footnote there. Said it is believed by some, but not all, that Dave Palumbo was in cahoots.
Yeah. So I basically I said I'm not gonna get crazy with this guy. I'm gonna respond in a very controlled manner, and because it was so ridiculous that like you don't need to get upset about it. And so I said, look, if you want to come on Iron Debate and debate me about this, because basically what my supposition was that Dallas died basically of a blocked coronary artery, coronary heart disease. Guys 26 years old don't get that normally. Even if you take tons of steroids, even if you eat like a pig McDonald's every day, you don't get it at 26 unless you have a genetic predisposition. And that's the point I was trying to drive home. Look, was he doing things that were certainly going to increase his chances of getting heart disease? Being 340 pounds, having high blood pressure, probably, taking steroids in excessive amounts. Yeah, all those contribute, but, guys don't drop dead at 26. There has to be a genetic component that basically set it off. So all these other factors basically just set the genetic component off. And I was trying to explain, and he was trying to make it seem like, because he's all black or white. Dave is an idiot. He's an asshole. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Of course steroids killed him. And so I had to respond to that. And then he responded back with another idiotic video. So then I got angry, and I really, I told him off pretty much in the last video. And then they've been getting a lot of hits and traction. You guys can go watch. I don't have to rehash the whole argument, but basically, I'm sick of him. He's an internet bully essentially, and he uses his sarcastic wit and Wikipedia as his way of like basically suppressing people or putting them down and bullying them, because he figures that no one else can do what he does. But he doesn't realize that he met his match when he met me, because I love to fight and argue. That's I get off on that. So while he's not really worth me spending hours and hours and hours responding to, I did respond harshly to him. And once again, if he wants to come on and debate, that's fine, because I that's what I do. That's what you, me, John Romano do best. We like to argue and get our point across. So if he wants to do it, then I have no problem with that. He can contact me and we'll do it. We'll do it on our channel, because I think his channel's ability to, well, he basically works out of his basement, so he doesn't have a TV studio. He has a computer in his mother's basement or wherever he lives. I don't know. And I shouldn't say he lives. I don't know if he lives with his mother or not. But anyway, that was that. So I was responding to that all weekend, and then the Lui Marco Bonac thing came out. So there was a lot of news going on, and of course, my Tyler, the creator, our video guy, doesn't work on the weekend, so I had to like record all this stuff myself and edit it myself and get it up, because it needed to be done at a timely manner. It's a good thing I know what I'm doing, right, Chris?
Yeah.
That's why I always say you should know how to.
You'd have nothing.
Well, you should know. I always say in every business you should know how to do everything. I mean, because.
Well, you know what? It's very nice, but you know what they asked William Bonac, Warren Buffett once. He bought an Israeli tool company. Right. Mm-hmm. And the lady was interviewing him from CNBC. Had the interviewer out in front of, I think they went to like Tel Aviv, and they were walking around and they were talking about investments, and he bought the whole entire company, and she asked him his interest in tools, and he said, well, I have none. He said, I just have an interest in this company that it can make a profit. He says, I don't know how to use a screwdriver.
That's funny. He's worse than my dad.
So you know how to run everything at RxMuscle, but he doesn't know how to use a screwdriver and is buying a tool company.
And he's making a lot more money than I am, that's for sure.
A little bit more.
Yeah. I actually went to see my dad today, and he actually got up and he was walking. Logan likes to go visit my dad, not because he wants to see my dad, but because there's this like little outdoor sitting chamber that has these ceiling fans that he's fascinated with. So he goes and sees my dad. He waves to him for 3 seconds, and then he starts whining that he wants to go see the fans. So my dad somehow got up out of bed without even... Normally my dad doesn't do anything. He's lazy as shit as can be. Gets out of bed, and he actually starts, with his walker, following Logan down the hall. I'm like, Dad, where are you going? He's like, I want to see what he wants. I want what he wants. I'm like, you never get up. And he went all the way to the window there where Logan was pointing at the fans. And he actually was somehow interacting with my son, which was the first time I've ever seen him do that. So that was a monumental thing. Of course, he didn't remember that he did that 30 seconds later. And I actually, one of the nurses came in to help him out, or to, I don't know, change the bed sheets or something like that. And he, because this assisted living place is great. They make sure my dad takes a shower. They change all the sheets, and it's I love it. I love them over there. Anyway, she's like, "Oh, your dad was at the Christmas celebration party we had today." I said, "Oh, really? Where was that?" "Oh, on the other side of the, they have like two sides of the building. They went on the other side, and my dad was singing Christmas carols." So she's like, "Sally, you remember you were singing Christmas carols? You were holding that Christmas tree in your arm, and you were helping that woman." He goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "Dad," she said, "you were singing." I said to her, "Why don't you take your video camera out, your phone out, and video my dad? I'll pay you for the footage." I said, "Please."
Put that on the site.
Exactly. We'll get more hits with that than Vegan Gains.
If you don't put it on the site,
Lui
just send
Marco.
it to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to Lui Marco.
Yeah. You know, your father's gonna live there like another 20, 30 years.
I know, my wife.
Gonna give him first class
attention
because he's so funny.
I know. We're gonna run out of money. So I better sign on with Beta right now because I need more money for my dad to continue living at this place. So he's singing over there Christmas carols, and some woman was very depressed, and here's the irony of the whole. And my dad's like giving her pep talk. The whole thing is that my dad is the worst person on the whole. It's the assisted living dementia unit or memory loss unit or memory whatever they call it unit, and the woman next to him, who I thought was was on the ball and always yelling at my dad, he's making too much noise. She got moved to the full nurse. What is it called?
Full blown, yeah.
She needs 24/7 nursing.
That's what my father has.
Yeah,
24-hour nurse.
Which is double the price. She gets moved out of here to the other building, which is a shithole. Not really shithole, but it's not as nice. I'm thinking she's doing much better than my dad. And then the woman across the hall died, which happens in that place because they're very old people there. But so I'm thinking, holy shit, I thought my dad was the worst off in this whole place. He's probably the best off in this place. That's why he's so animated, because these other people are on their deathbeds here. That's why they're so quiet and well behaved.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting, Dave, because the parallel. My father's, he has pretty bad dementia, but as you know, there's different levels of it, and some people are just comatose.
Right.
So my father's, I know things are still, quote, decent when I go visit him, and he has a list of complaints. I just saw him the other day. He had a giant list of complaints, and there was a little acting thrown into some of them.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's dramatizing it all.
Yeah, and
maybe you should go. Maybe take him out of there and give. This is what you do. Tell that bedbug guy, listen, you can stay in my building, but my dad is going to live with you. Matter of fact, I'll give you free rent. I'll give you anything you want. I'll redo your bathroom. I'll buy you a new couch. I'll fumigate your apartment every month. But you're gonna have to live with my dad. You'll save a fortune, Chris, because you're probably paying a fortune over at that assisted living place. The bedbug guy, that'll be his job. Say, look, you got a job. You want a job? You get free rent and a whole new apartment, and you're gonna be good to go. But you're gonna have to keep an eye on my dad. That's all there is to it. God damn it, Chris, you think I got the patience to sit there with your dad all day long? I got to deal with this woman downstairs bringing those bugs in? God damn it.
No. They're gone. They're gone, according to him now.
Oh, they are. Okay, good.
Yeah, and I still have. I got to look for it here. I have the listener of the show who sent me the nuclear bomb of bed bug chemicals.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that what you used?
No, I haven't used it yet because now the guy I was evicting him over the bugs, and he said he's decided he's changed his tune. He said there's no bugs here. I sent you that video. I mean that audio tape.
No, I didn't know if that's what he's sticking with. That there's no more bugs.
Yeah.
So you think that the whole time there was no bugs? He was just complaining.
Well, you know what? What happens is this.
It's cold out now. Maybe they all died.
No, when you think you have bed bugs, because I thought I had them in my house once.
Yeah.
And the exterminator said, Chris, he came over and I thought for sure I had him. And he said, do you know how many times the human eye blinks a day? And I said, what's that supposed to mean? He said, if you realize that if you could only blink 1,000 times a day or 500 times a day, or you'd be, take a year off your life every, blink you went over 500, you'd be so scared of blinking. He said, so you itch. The human body just, you itch your head, you itch your shoulder. You're not aware of it.
Right.
You're never aware of how often
True.
you itch during a day.
True.
He said, we're itching all day long. We itch our face. And he said, when you think you have bed bugs in a house or an apartment or a condominium and you start itching, every itch you think, oh, there's a bug under my skin.
He's right. When we had a flea problem. Back when I was a kid, we had a cat we got from like an animal shelter. And man, I was convinced that the fleas never left the house. I was convinced of it. I was always itching and I was so paranoid for like a year, after that. So he's right.
One time I went into an apartment with him when the first time I ever met him, and I was like, you would think that someone had a rifle aimed at my head. I was walking so slow and carefully. He said, what are you doing? And he's just walking around.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to get the bugs on me. He said, they're not. He said they can't. They don't fly like bumblebees, and they're not Mexican jumping beans. They're bed bugs.
Don't they hop?
You're gonna get them if you.
I thought they hop. They don't hop.
No, no, they don't.
See, I would be the same way. I wouldn't even go in there. I go to pet stores and I'm afraid I'm going to pick up snake mites and bring them back to my facility because that's like a plague. You don't want to. If bed bugs are a plague for humans, snake mites are a plague for reptiles. Like they don't stop growing. It's the same fucking thing, and it's different because you can't leave. The reptiles got to stay there, so you got to like try to treat them while they're there. Luckily, I only had one case of them ever, and when I only had a couple animals initially, and so ever since then I've been I always quarantine and all that stuff. So anyway, we were talking about this this William Bonac thing. Now, just for people who don't know this, the Bonac story was broken on Lui Marco's Instagram, essentially. He posted a video of what happened. So, I don't know if you know who...
Of course, because he had to preempt the embarrassment.
Yeah, well, there's a guy, Anders. You know Anders?
No.
Who used to write for our site?
Oh, yeah. I know Anders, yeah.
Eskilson. Anders
Yes.
Eskilson. And I had to fire him, basically, let him go, because he was acting too crazy, and he was insulting Gail, who was working for us at the time. And I just don't allow anyone to harass anyone, much less a guy harass a woman who I was very good friends with and who was doing, a great job working for us. So I let him go, but he still sends me all kinds of crazy stuff on Facebook Messenger. He's always, asking my opinion about things. There's definitely something a little wrong with him. Once again, like a lot of the people I tracked, I blame myself. So he told me about this, so Aaron Singerman had basically texted me, said, did you hear what happened with William Bonac? Within like a second later, this guy Anders sends me this link to also telling me what happened with Bonac, and he already lifted the video from Louis' page and put it on his YouTube channel. So he said, if you put this up, I want you to give me credit for it. Rising Muscle. That's his little site. I said, fine. So as I'm editing my video together, my reaction video, I said to him, look, where'd you get this video, first of all? Is this like an original video someone sent you? Or did you get it from Lui Marco's Instagram? So he started getting all defensive. He's like, I broke the story to you. I said, I didn't ask you that. I said, you didn't break the story to me. Aaron Singerman broke the story to me. You sent me a link to the video. if I use this video, if it's yours, then I'm going to give you credit for it. If it's Lui Marco's, I'm going to give Lui Marco credit for it. I'm not giving anyone. I'm not doing this. So he goes nuts. So he sends me these threatening voicemails. I got to play. You like play? You think the bedbug ones? Wait till I play these voicemails for you when you hear these things that he sends me. He's out of his mind. He's threatening me on these things. And then he blocked me, which thank God. Because I don't want to hear from him anymore anyway. He's completely fucking out of his freaking mind. All right, here you go. I'm going to play this for you. Ready? All right, hold on.
Right.
You fucking moron. I broke the fucking news for you, so it doesn't matter if the original source is somewhere else. I broke the news for you. It would be my fucking pleasure at one time if I, just for fun, act out like Christian Duke has done when it comes to you, but on a whole different level, on a whole different media level. Legal, of course. I'm not that fucking stupid so I threaten someone and can be charged for that. But I'm fucking warning you, man.
Hold on, that's part one. I'm going to play part two. It gets better.
Sounds like Flex Lewis.
Well, he's from Scandinavia, so hold on. Here's the part two. And once again, another guy I gave a chance to put up, his stories on my site and backfired in my face. Hold on here.
He's wait.
Singer hasn't fucking sent you anything, you fucking idiot. Don't talk fucking shit because I saw it when the minute it was on Instagram, so don't try to play me like that I'm some fucking kind of fool, because I promise if I meet you one day, I promise you that I will confront you and you will not like it, and you will not fucking like it. You're a fucking punk. You're nothing, Dave.
It cuts off.
He's confronting you like.
Yeah, he's going to confront. He's going to physically confront me.
It's ironic. Well, it's ironic that he's going to confront you over the video in which Bonac is confronting Lui Marco.
Right. And because of the fact that he doesn't believe that Singerman gave it to me, sent it to me first, which he did, because Aaron is actually friends with Lui Marco, so Aaron knew the video was going up before it even went up. This guy just sent me the link to it because I'm not on Lui Marco's Instagram. I might even be blocked from Lui Marco's Instagram for all I know. I know it's private. So this fucking lunatic says that he thinks he should be given credit for breaking the story to me. In other words, he's not saying that he's agreeing that Lui Marco broke the story, but he broke it to me, he thinks. So therefore, which he can't possibly know if he did or not, because he's assuming he did, because in his mind he stalked Lui Marco's Instagram. He saw it there and sent it to me, but he didn't, because he didn't realize that Aaron knows Lui Marco personally and knew the story before it even was posted. So this fucking maniac is threatening me for no reason.
What is he looking for? A link to his Rising Muscle? I mean,
no, the funny thing was I was going to give him the credit, but then I realized because I called Aaron that the only video could possibly be up was the one that Lui Marco posted. Now, another guy today, I'm not going to mention who because I don't know if he wants me to, emailed me that he has the full HD footage that took place. So he must have been right there. So hopefully I said, well, send it to me. So he's supposed to send it to me. This way when I interview Lui Marco, I'll play the full footage, in HD, But this fucking lunatic, I'm so happy he blocked me because I don't want to hear from him anymore. And I'm sure you're listening to the show, so don't contact me anymore. Do me a favor. I don't need any stress in my life from lunatics like you and Christian Duke. Go. You should both join forces and do a podcast. It could be about me. All you can do is report on everything that I do every single day of my life. You made it when you have a podcast about you that just reports about you. I got fucking Christian Duke doing videos about me every day, and I got this fucking lunatic who wants credit for a video that he didn't shoot.
Yeah. So I think you got sidetracked with the vegan gains guy.
No, I said the vegan gains thing is the vegan gains thing.
You killed the bodybuilder.
He said, I told him off. I said, you're a fucking moron. I said, basically, if you think anyone in our industry is going to believe that a guy like myself who makes plenty of money legitimately now, okay? And I said, look, we all have pasts of what we did in the past, and so do you. I said, but a guy like myself who has a family and a legitimate lifestyle
Who would you mean?
needs
So
to
you.
sell
Who
drugs
so you?
and tell
Who you?
Dallas
Who you?
what to take. You got to think that you got to be a fucking moron to believe that anyone's going to believe that cockamamie story. So he basically ruined his own credibility by doing that. He did it because he wanted publicity. He knew that I would respond, and so now we're entwined in this TMZ like battle, which is fine because we got like 1,000 subscribers on RxMuscle's YouTube channel from this maniac. Because I'm sure all his, he's got way more subscribers than we do, 3 times as many subscribers. So
there's his credibility. That's his credibility.
I'll take some of his. I'll take some of his subscribers. That's fine. That's all right. I like to argue, so it doesn't matter to me. He doesn't know who he's going after. Most of these guys he goes after, like when he went after Rich Piana and Boston Lloyd and those guys, they don't. Well, Boston's a good guy, but even Boston doesn't give a shit about what people think about it. I like to argue, and I like to to duke it out, especially when I think I'm right. Which is if I think I'm wrong, I back down immediately. But the funny thing is, I think that he's talented. I think the guy is just. I'd love to have him work for me. He's super talented in the sense that he can pull stuff and he's funny when he wants to be. But when he's off base, no one wants to listen to him. So. I think he should just stick to parroting what he normally does.
Well, maybe, some people will say, well, Chris said that William Bonac should just mind his own business and focus on the future. And they'll say the same.
Well,
why didn't you call out Dave and tell him to focus on the future, not these lunatics?
Yeah, well, you know what? I do it because I get pleasure and we get traffic out of it. I have to. Look, we're a news reporting agency. I have to respond to it. The fans want it. Our listeners. I got like 600 emails from people telling me, "What are you going to respond to this guy? I can't wait to hear your reaction." So I had to do it.
They egg you on.
Yeah. You know what? The pathetic thing is, and the very sad thing is that I had said that Dallas's death had to be genetically, a genetic thing, and I found, I'm not going to say who told me, but from good word, I have very good information and good data that Dallas has at least 2 or 3 other people in his family that have died in their early 30s of coronary heart disease. So it absolutely does run in his family. And for those idiots out there who thought I was just throwing it into the wind, I have a very good medical background. I understand, that coronary artery disease takes many years to develop. If you get coronary artery disease when you're in your 20s, okay, it means that something has accelerated it, not steroids, because we know that steroids don't accelerate it to that degree. He had a family predisposition, and probably the only way that he could have avoided ever getting blockages would have been to have gotten tested regularly to see how his coronary arteries looked, and to eat like an impeccable diet, to be like an aerobics type of guy, doing a lot of heart, good stuff for his heart, and he still might have gotten it. And check his cholesterol. Obviously, the bodybuilding lifestyle is not conducive to, good heart health if you have a predisposition for artery blockage, because we eat so much freaking food. Obviously, the steroids don't help. Having slightly high blood pressure doesn't help. Being, 300 plus pounds doesn't help. We know these are all risk factors, but let's face it, the biggest risk factors are alcohol consumption, cigarette smoking, fat, sugar consumption, and the people who get heart disease because of that lifestyle, it usually doesn't hit them till they're in their 50s. So, once again, there was a serious genetic component in Dallas's case, and it's sad that he wasn't able to catch this, because maybe they would have been able to put a stent in or do a bypass surgery. I don't think he probably would have needed a bypass surgery, but at his age, but he never got the chance because he didn't know, and that's why I'm out there basically telling people, get that cardiac CT done every 5 years of yourself. See how those vessels are doing. Do the echocardiogram once a year to see how your heart is performing, and if you're pumping blood efficiently, and how thick your heart is. And these are just simple tests you can do. And so, Vegan Gain's attacking me because like I'm some kind of imbecile that doesn't know anything. Like he's acting like I'm some guy from the street who didn't graduate high school and is like this bodybuilding bro guy who read some stuff online and just happens to be a steroid using bodybuilder that's giving advice out. And that's why no one believed him, because people know that that's not the case with me. It might be the case with some other guys out there that give advice, but not with me. So anyway, that was the Vegan Gains. That was the Lui Marco. that was the nutcase Anders story. What else happened? All the guys that we love to talk about have had busy weekends. Enhanced Muscle, our good friend Dr. Tony Huge over there, his company. Well, it's not really. He doesn't own the company. He represents the company, at least legality wise. That's what he says. They were raided by the FDA.
Hey, wait a minute. What's the spin? Come on.
He says he doesn't own Enhanced Muscle. He said he just is a representative for them.
You want me to translate that
Yes,
for you?
sure.
It's an LLC that he owns, and he's pretending.
I don't think he owns it. According to an article I had read about a month or two ago, there's another guy who owns the company.
Okay, how about this?
He licenses the name to that guy.
Okay, is it implied that is he trying to imply or say that he doesn't make a profit from it?
No, I think he's employed by the company. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
So he basically owns the name. He licenses it to the owner. The owner then employs him. I think that's how it. I think that's how. And don't quote me on that. I think that's how it works out. If I ask him, he'll tell me.
You want me to spin that one too?
Yeah, break through the
the
corporate veil.
What that means is that was set up.
Absolutely.
That was set up for the sole purpose of when the shit hit the fan, which it obviously.
They've been expecting this for forever since they started.
Yeah.
They were ready for this. They were ready.
The problem is they're not going to be ready.
Well, they were ready, and I'll tell you why. The FDA came in hoping they were going to get DMP. That's at least what I was told by Dr. Huge. And they had no DMP there because they never had DMP there because I think they have like a fertilizer company that makes the DMP for them, and they sell it through the fertilizer company, which ironically I believe has the same or a very similar address to where their warehouse is. Anyway, the FDA came in. They seized all the SARMs that were there, all the raw materials. There was no DMP there, and they were pissed, he said, because there was no DMP there. So they called the fire marshals in, who wrote them code violations for electrical outlets that were not. There was like 2 electrical outlets that something wasn't done correctly. So they shut them down or something like that for a day or two until they got that fixed.
Now
on their website,
that one. Want me to translate that one
Yeah.
if someone knows a little bit about code?
Sure.
Fire department is no way shutting you down for 2 electrical outlets.
Oh, you don't think so?
No. No. Well, ask me again, Dave. I'll tell you again. The fire department is not shutting you down for 2 outlets without a permit.
Well, I think he said they're back in business already. They're already shipping orders.
Well,
again.
I'm just telling you I'm being the lawyer and saying that's.
So maybe they just wrote them.
didn't happen.
Maybe they just wrote them code violations that they got.
Yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah. So anyway, so they did that. He said they're back in business. He said that the orders will still be going out. They might be delayed 1 or 2 weeks because they have to get more raw materials. So they're continuing to produce SARMs and do everything, even though they were raided and seized. And Tony is currently in the Philippines, where he just sent me a video the other day where he opened a new gym, Enhanced Muscle Gym. It's beautiful, gorgeous. Maybe I'll put the video up on I'm sure it's on his site already, his YouTube channel. But and he's got his whole family there. So I don't know if he's hiding out there, if he's staying there, or what's going on. But he says he's not concerned. I said, are you worried? He goes, no, I got out of being a lawyer because I had stress on me. This is no stress. I don't own the company. He's like, right now these compounds that we're selling are not illegal, and I feel like we're not doing anything wrong. And if they're made illegal at some point, he goes, then we'll stop selling them. And he's very, very convinced of that. I can guarantee this one thing. They put this up on enhancedmuscle.com. They explained the whole thing that happened. Who the hell does that? They're probably going to sell more product now than they've ever sold because people are going to be worried now that they're not going to be able to get it anymore. So that's the Enhanced Muscle
You're
stuff.
100% right there.
Right?
I'm sure they'll sell a ton.
They even say it. We don't know if they're going to make this illegal in the future. If it does, we'll have to stop selling it. So people are probably like freaking out. They're going to stock
Sounds
up.
like a Bill Phillips statement, right?
Yeah. Hey, someone asked me, they're like, you sure that that they really did get raided? You sure it's not just a sales tactic? I said, who knows?
Yeah, could be. Yeah,
could be.
Be a great sales tactic.
Tony Huge is not really. Dr. Tony Huge is not he's not really a liar though. He's pretty honest. He's almost honest to like a fault. Like he's almost too honest, about everything he says. So who knows? I have a feeling they probably did get raided. No one's gonna really. I don't think anyone would make up a story like that, but. So that's Dr. Tony Huge. And what else? Oh, I talked to you. Remember, I talked to you about my DNA analysis but this was a couple shows back. But I had my DNA tested. Well, Carmen Tuchenik, who's the DNA diva, they call her. She's the one who's running this. This whole DNA testing lab or whatever. She's working with them, and she's using the DNA analysis to help with developing programs of writing diets and stuff like that for competitors and stuff like that. She called me the other day with her partner, and they went over my entire profile. And they actually said I did a pretty good job on the show, where I was actually analyzing what I thought was good and not good about me. They said I did it pretty good. They went into super detail. I don't want to, I might do it on a TV show with her, have her go over my DNA. But I did find out, one of the things I didn't really read properly is that I don't produce insulin very well in my body, which is probably why I stay so lean. But it also could be why my blood sugars have been a little wacky lately. So it's interesting that genetically, it's funny. Everything that she pointed out, like I have a predisposition for arthritis, which obviously I have in my shoulders. Every gene defect that I have has completely expressed itself. Every single one of them, which is amazing. Like it was almost like you get a psychic reading and you're telling the psychic, oh, that's true. That my aunt does. When she died, she did have the a yellow robe on or something like that. You're like, holy mackerel. Well, she's telling me things about myself, and I'm like, yep, that's true.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I'm thinking that, and I'm a very good fat burner. And I'm a very good protein. I handle protein pretty good. And I'm thinking, maybe that competitors should get their DNA tested.
Oh God, no. Then
I'm telling you, this is the reason. Hear me out here.
You'll have to make it another. Your guru seminar just went another day.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I set something up with her where people can use. They go to the website, DNApower.com. They pick out which test they want to have done, because I had the whole battery. I had all 7 done. They do from the brain chemistry to detoxification, profile, which says how your body detoxifies things and breaks them out, to how you handle nutrition, how you. Hold on, let me look this up. Oh, no, I don't want to get this wrong. Let me see which ones I did. I did the detox, the diet one, how I handle, protein, fat, carbs, how fit I am, in other words, cardiovascular health, my hormone profile, how I produce hormones. By the way, I overproduce DHT, which is absolutely the case because remember that's why I break out, lose hair easy, and probably would be prone to prostate disease. But you know what? I started taking finasteride, a DHT blocker, way early in my career because I was losing my hair a little bit, when I hit 30. And so I think I've neutralized that, which is good. What else? Inflammation profile and how you methylate things in your body. And I don't methylate B12 very well, which means usually you can store vitamin B12 up to 6 months in your liver in a methylated state. I don't methylate it at all. So if I don't take in B12 every single day, then I'm going to be deficient. And B12, we know B12 is important in protein synthesis reactions. We also know it's important in the development of red blood cells, but it's also integral, and I didn't realize this, in the detoxification process in the body. So if your B12 is not working properly, that whole methylated B12 folate detoxification cycle doesn't work in the body. So these are things that I never knew about my body. So I started taking, I told you last week, a methylated B12 supplement. It's called methylcobalamin. Whether it's helping me or not, I have no idea. Because I probably took enough B12 in every day anyway. But at least I should be able to store it and detox my body better now. I'll have to see how I feel over the next couple of weeks. And I think that if competitors got these profiles done on themselves, and once again, I would probably definitely get the one on your hormone one, how you handle testosterone, estrogen, DHT. I would definitely get the one on diet, so you know how your body handles protein, fat, carbs, and the other ones are all interesting, but those two definitely. And this way, you could take that DNA data and you can give it to your coach if you have a coach who knows what the frick he's doing. I mean, because Chris, if your guy gives you his profile and you see that the guy can't metabolize carbohydrates, well, you're not going to give him a high carbohydrate diet. Likewise, if the guy can't metabolize fat well, you might not. Even me, I wouldn't give him a high fat diet. I wouldn't. I would probably be more cautious on the fats I'm giving him. Likewise, you can kind of know what supplements a person needs by how their body break down certain things and what vitamins these people might be deficient in. Now, it's interesting because all these genes that they test for, Chris, you could take these genes and Google the gene, and you will get 10 pages on what this gene does in your body, and you'll be horrified because if you have like a mutated copy from both your parents, which would give you a poor in that gene category, you'll be like, holy fuck, I didn't even know this. I can't believe all the things that this gene does in the body. And a lot of times there's things that you can do to counteract it, so it's not like you're doomed by your genetics. It's just that if you are aware of what you can't do, genetically speaking, then you'll just won't go there. You'll avoid that pathway. You'll help your body by giving it supplements that it can help, either detoxify itself or whatever the case may be, whatever you're missing. And it gives you more knowledge as a bodybuilder. And I'm a big believer in. I know you go more by feel, and you could obviously feel your way through these things too. But it's nice to know. Like I'm just thinking of my son. I'm going to get his DNA tested because I want to know. I'm not going to necessarily tell him, but I want to know what he can do and what he can't do genetically, and what he's going to have toughness. You know what I found out? I found out I'm a terrible endurance athlete. If I would have known that, I would have never wasted 5 years running. I was a good distance runner, but I wasn't great. And I put the effort of it. I put so much effort into it. You would think I would have been great, But I just don't have. That's not what my body's made for. It's made for interval type training, almost like soccer, running, stopping, running, stopping, running, stop. And bodybuilding is like that to a certain degree. You put a maximum effort, then you rest. Maximum effort, and that's probably why I grew well, because that's the way my body is designed genetically. And it's nice to know what your kids can and can't do ahead of time, because then you can guide them to the right sports that they will excel at.
So what do they take a
cheek swab?
Blood test?
Cheek swab. Yeah, they send you this thing, and if you do it through anyway. So I set up this whole thing with this woman, with Carmen, excuse me. And if you go to that site, DNApower.com, and you put the coupon code in, the promo code DNA Dave, they'll give you free shipping. So what happens is they send you this little kit. You swab your cheek. You put it in this little test tube. You put it in the pre-packed envelope, and you send it back to them. From that little swab, okay, they read all your DNA. It's amazing. And you get this full report. The report is so comprehensive, and they'll go over it with you, too, if you really want them to. She was on the phone with me for 2 hours. My wife thought I was cheating on her, I think. She's like, who are you on the phone with? I come back to the house. I'm still on the phone for 2 hours. I'm like, I'm going over my DNA analysis. I didn't even get a chance to finish, but it was so involved. And, I was interested because I felt like, you know what? I might be too old to fix a lot of these problems, although not necessarily. But I think this is a great tool for people out there who can afford it. It's not that expensive, but it's something that it's another tool that you can find out about yourself, what your DNA is good at and what your DNA is bad at doing. And you know what? You might surprise yourself and really help your bodybuilding by being able to guide yourself on what kind of foods you should and shouldn't eat. Like she told me I shouldn't eat. I have no ability to digest lactose, which we know, right? I say this all the time, Chris, on the show. 0. So I shouldn't take anything with lactose in because my body can't get rid of it. It can't detoxify it. Can't break it down. It can't digest it. Gluten. I know Cedric said that you need gluten to break down gluten. Gluten I'm okay at. I don't have 2 gene defects for it. I only have like a half a gene defect or something like that for it. So I shouldn't eat a lot of it. I don't find the gluten bothers me that much, but I do notice if I eat a lot of bagels or pasta, I do get a little gassy. So I don't know, maybe that could be a sign that I can't handle large amounts of gluten. But some people, you wouldn't know that. Now, some people have what's called celiac, where they're actually allergic to gluten. I'm not allergic to it, but obviously I don't digest it as efficiently as maybe a person who doesn't have that gene defect. So these things are interesting. I think it's an interesting thing. I think you should get your kids, your 3 sons' DNA checked, just so you have the data at your disposal. Because it's something. Once again, it's something. It's like you're being able to read your body's instruction booklet, something that we never able in the history of humankind were ever able to do. And the more interesting thing is, if we can read this many genes now in the year 2017, imagine in 2027, we'll be able to read everything. We'll know everything about our bodies when we're born. You'll just take a drop of your blood or a cheek swab, put it into a computer, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about yourself, which I don't know if we necessarily want to know, but...
I was just going to say, do you really want to know it? I don't know.
Well, if Dallas could have found out that he has, that he's going to get coronary artery disease, at an early age, maybe he would have done something to avoid it. So these are things that, these are tools that we're going to have at our disposal. Maybe in the future we'll be able to actually change those genes. Oh, you have a defect for, heart, you're prone to heart disease.
You think you'll be able to do that in the future?
Yes. You'll be able to
totally
inject
agree.
a viral vector into you and it will repair that gene. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely will happen. You mark my word. I hope I'm alive to see it. I feel like my dad now. I hope I'm alive to see it.
Yeah. No, I mean, just listen. I was just talking to my kids today about the change that has gone on in 100 years.
It's amazing, right?
It's amazing when you see. Go look at an old picture of, let's say, Miami from like 80 years ago. There was nothing there.
How about your cell phone? Your cell phone today is more powerful than the most powerful computer 10 years ago.
I used that example today. You know what I compared it to? I said, listen, when I was a kid, you guys have already you've gone through from my flip phone to my BlackBerry to I graduated to an iPhone, and I just upgraded the iPhone the other day.
You did again? Whoa.
Yeah.
What do you get? What'd you get, an 8?
No, I get the 7.
Wow. I'm very shocked.
And then I brought the damn thing home, and my son got the 6 working again. He went on like the internet and found out you could use a hairdryer to like heat up the back end of it. It might give it back, bring it back.
The 7 now, the 7 and 8, are water resistant. You could actually drop them in water.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So I can use mine on the toilet then.
Yeah.
I said when I was little, I remember a toaster.
It's like the Trump cartoon you sent me.
Yeah. Right? A toaster oven was a big breakthrough when I was little. A microwave oven was a major breakthrough.
You got to be rich to have a microwave when we were kids.
An answering machine, which I was one of the first to have.
Yeah, I never had one, ever.
Was a big breakthrough.
It's too poor.
Yeah, Trump was giving his. I sent you a little cartoon today.
It's great. It was the cartoon was Abe Lincoln sitting on that Abe Lincoln monument where it says 7 years ago, and then they show Donald Trump instead of him. Abe Lincoln is sitting on this big throne like in Washington D.C. on the Lincoln Monument, and then they show Trump sitting on a toilet bowl with a cell phone like hunched over.
And what was the caption?
And he's saying,
7 years ago, the caption was "Grab him by the pussy."
Yeah, grab him by the pussy.
You see, everyone. You know what? Everyone is getting in trouble now, right?
I know, it's crazy.
Having grabbed him by the you-know-what.
Yeah, you can't grab anyone by it.
Trump's immune to it.
Yeah, well, he's the president. He'll pardon himself. You know that.
Yeah, and everybody. I mean, you saw Al Franken he's resigning.
Yeah. And I found that funny. Al Franken, who was a comedian who became a senator, I guess he was harassing women, and they all calling for his resignation. He says, "I'm planning on resigning in the next few weeks." So like usually when you resign and you announce that, don't you just resign? Like when is he going to actually do it? Like is he going to do it in a month, 2 months?
No,
Does he have to pardon some people? What is he going to do?
The answer is he's just not going to not show up the next day. He's probably the state of Minnesota has to find a fill-in. I don't know how it works.
No, because they could always they always have someone to fill in. I think that he's got some kind of
They're going to let Deegan Gaines fill in. I think he's from Minnesota.
Yeah, there you go.
But you know what, Dave? I always tell maintenance guy who works for me, you can never, ever. That's my policy. You cannot go into an apartment with a female by herself.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. You could be accused of sexual. Whatever, misconduct.
Yeah. I've been telling him that, I've been telling him that and he's been following it for a long time, and, thank goodness.
Well, you know what, also, look, I'm sure a lot of guys have done things that could be construed as sexual harassment, but it was done in a funny, maybe a nonchalant way. But now these things are really being taken serious, like because everyone is because these couple of guys out there that were real scumbags have gotten exposed. Now everyone's running scared because, oh man, I shouldn't have made that comment to my secretary, because now they're on a warpath to get people in trouble. So once again, it's very difficult. You got to be very careful in the workplace, and that's why I had a former employee who just recently left who was always doing things that could have been construed possibly as sexual harassment, and I had to always sit him down and have conversations with him, and he just didn't get it. But it's serious. In a workplace, you don't do that stuff. It's dangerous, and it's not cool, and there's no place for it there. Among friends, you can do whatever you want, but not in a workplace. I did an interview, Chris, with Rick Drayson, who you probably know. Rick was the guy who actually created both the World Gym and the Gold Gym logos back in the day. He was also a professional wrestler. He trained with Arnold back in the day. He was on the Incredible Hulk TV show. He used to play the transition. They called him the Demi Hulk. When Bill Bixby would turn into the Incredible Hulk, who was played by Lou Ferrigno, there was a transition person. I always thought it was Bill Bixby. It was actually Rick Drayson. So Rick has a very popular YouTube channel called Rick's Corner, and I've been on it a number of times. And every so often we showcase some of his videos on the RxMuscle site, and I helped him promote that channel initially. And it's got a tremendous following. And so he interviewed me the other day. It was a real off the cuff interview, and people really seem to enjoy it. And I'm going to get Rick on the show either if it's not next week, the week after that. I'm looking forward to that. Rick's a good. I didn't even know he was in his 70s, but he's in terrific shape. He just had his knee done. He had a knee replacement. I'm trying to talk him into do his shoulders now because he has bad shoulders like I do. And I'm like, Rick, I got mine done. It was the best thing that I ever did. So he knows everyone. He was actually he should have been called into that movie.
The Joe Weider movie.
The Joe Weider movie as a consultant. Yeah, because he knew Joe. Very well. They used to go out to eat every Sunday. He would have been great on that movie set. Speaking of that movie, I got to get Dan Solomon on the show too because he told me what to do an interview. Find out about that whole movie. I got a whole list of people I have to interview. Next week, I'm actually the Oxygen, and I've mentioned this I think on the last show. Oxygen TV station, not Oxygen Gym, is flying out from New York to Cape Coral here because they understand that my wife could give birth at any day, and they're renting a suite at this hotel, and they're going to be interviewing me about the Kelly Ryan, Craig Titus murder because obviously Kelly was recently released from jail, and they wanted my input since I kind of knew both of them. And it's funny, I'm trying to find old pictures from when I took with Craig and Kelly, back in the day. I don't know, I can't find them. If anyone has pictures of me and Craig and Kelly, or
you're talking like on the internet or like your personal,
anywhere, they want pictures for the show, and so I'm trying to find through my old archives. I realized, I didn't realize those, they committed that crime in 2005. So, there's not as many pictures as you think before 2005 because that's just really when no one took pictures with cell phones. They weren't good enough back then. But we were taking pictures with the disposable cameras, and I would develop them, and I would scan them, and then I would put them up on my website. So I got to try to look through my old hard drives if I have them. But if anyone has pictures of Craig, Kelly, and me.
I think Anders has got a couple of them.
Yeah, exactly. I want credit for those! I want credit! Or I'm coming after you!
Dave.
I'm going to get Bonac to take care of fucking Anders for me. Have Bonac take both those guys out, Anders and fucking Dookie.
Are you getting Bonac on Live With? You haven't had him on Live With, right?
No, because he's under contract with Flex Magazine now, which is I don't know why, but he'll when his contract is up, they're not going to renew.
Oh, yeah, he'll come for sure.
Yeah, we'll get him on. I do like to interview him. I think he's once again, I like guys that are passionate about what they do. I don't care if they're a little. If they believe in themselves and they're aggressive and stuff like that, that's fine. That's good. That shows the person actually has a personality. You were you the one who told me about when he went and confronted Dexter Jackson that one year at the Prague show?
No, you and I were sitting there. No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't there. I think it was you and Aaron were there.
Oh, maybe me and Aaron.
Or something, or you and someone.
You know what I think of? You know what this idea of? Whenever I think of William Bonac, I think of seeing him for the first time in the 212 show and him getting talk about. You see, isn't it funny when you make criticisms of bodybuilding shows? Some people say, "Whoa, you have to be there," or can't you just say that some decisions are pretty shitty, right?
Yeah.
Bonac's first 212 show. I was working with Farnsworth. I think Derek Farnsworth beat him. Nothing against Derek Farnsworth. Or maybe Farnsworth got fourth and Bonac third, and he didn't win. He didn't come close to winning Bonac.
Right.
And you know what he looked like? Exactly like he does now, except strip off 22 pounds of muscle. But you know what? 22 pounds of muscle is still insane.
Yeah. He was good. Yeah, I remember when he was with 212. He was good. But you know what? And I didn't know if he would be a good open guy because he's short. But he's like a Lee Priest. He showed up. He said, "Screw it. I'm going to be the best I could be." And I got to take your hat off to the guy for that. That's tremendous. And what he accomplished, I don't think anyone could have ever predicted. He's a true dark horse in every sense of the word because he came out of nowhere, Chris. Out of nowhere.
Dude, your memory is incredible and it's terrible all at once. You interviewed him, Dave. Or maybe it was Aaron. And we were going nuts over him. He won. He got third something. And I remember it was either me or Aaron.
Yeah, but did you ever think he'd be an open guy and win?
Yeah, Dave,
coming
I'm telling you, this
third
was,
at the Olympia?
It was like his first open show, right? It was we went somewhere, and it was Bonac's first open show. And maybe he got a fifth or something. And I think Aaron interviewed him, and we were going nuts over him because either I said it or Aaron said it. You're going to be a big deal in the open.
Right.
And I know it is as clear as day because he was working at the time with that. The guy lives in Kuwait now. His name's Khalil. I forget his name. Or Khalid. It's either Khalid or Khalil. Mm-hmm. Khalid. He's a pro bodybuilder. He does 212s and open shows. He was. I think he's from Iraq originally. But he was coaching him, and he was off the charts.
Really?
Yeah. And we have somewhere RX has the interview because I can remember chiming in.
Was it from what? Was it from 2012?
To say you're going to be a big deal. You're going to be a big deal. And Bonac said, matter of fact, yeah, of course I am.
That's great. That's great. I'm trying to think.
Maybe. No.
It
could have been all the way back in 2010, 2011, somewhere there.
Yeah. No, he's a terrific
I thought
talent.
I said you have a bad memory, so it must have been Aaron. It must have been Aaron interviewing him, and it was Aaron interviewing him and his trainer, and I was just chiming in behind Aaron's back.
Maybe it was me. I don't even. I got to look it up on the site. Right.
Yep.
It definitely got to be on our website. What year do you think that was? 2012.
Let's see, 2000. Where was I in 9? Did I start? Had to be 2012 somewhere. Or it could have been. You know what? It may have been. No, that's what year is it? Yeah, 2012. Prague 2012, England 2012, or.
I don't know. Can't find it. I'll have to look for it another time. I'm sure we got it somewhere. I put Bonac in 4,000 things came up. 4,000 articles on our site came up. I can't even sift through them all. There's so many of them. But he's certain. Here's the question. I think he personally, I think he matches up better with Phil Heath than Big Ramy does because they're closer in size. Do you think that this guy could ever take out Phil Heath?
No.
Why not? Not enough wow? I think he's got a lot of wow.
I don't know because it's a really good question. No, he because here's the reason why. William has a lot of round muscle, a lot of big, thick muscle, a lot of thick muscle on his frame. So does Kai Green. I personally never thought Kai came close to Phil. Mm-hmm. And I'm no super Phil fan, meaning on a personal level, on a physique level, you know, he's got a lot of tools. And I just think if Kai can't, look at Kai in this video recently, right? If Kai can't put a dent on him, then William has trouble putting a dent on him.
Yeah. All right. That's fair enough. Bonac seems to be on the rise, and Phil's physique doesn't seem to be getting better, but because he's getting a little older. But we'll have to see what happens.
Come on. Phil was like spot on the last 2 years,
and he got that hernia fixed, so I'm sure he'll be fine for next year. All right, let me ask you a question because we're running out of time yet. I have your friend Derek, who got you the headset that you never wear. He has a question for you. He wants to know ask the technician what his thoughts are on Trump declaring Jerusalem the capital of Israel.
I think that he needs to up his Diet Coke intake from 12 cans. Did you see that New York Times say 12 cans a day? I thought I used to drink a lot in Miami when I'd do 5 cans a day. Seriously. I'd go through 5. On the hottest day, I'd go through 5.
Would you do that because you wanted the caffeine or because you just like the taste?
No, because I like to be hot, and I just like the idea of pouring a cold glass of Diet Coke with ice. I think it's a terrible idea, personally, that he declared Jerusalem the capital, because he doesn't own Jerusalem.
No.
And I don't think, to be fair, to play devil's advocate, I mean, that's my opinion.
Why do you think he even said that?
Because, say what you want about Donald Trump. That was a promise because he wanted to fulfill a promise that he made. He made that promise in the campaign, and I thought it was rhetoric. And a lot of things I think that he said in the campaign, and I think a lot of people may have thought that things that he said would just have shock value, to get attention, to create news, to create a buzz, to grab the headlines. And that was one of them, but he did follow through on that. So, say what you want about him, which I have a lot of negative things to say about him. He does follow through on what he has promised. And if you're a Trump supporter, that is one reason why you certainly voted for him, right? Yeah. Because of all people to come across as a hypocrite, Trump supporters, that's the last thing that they want is a hypocrite. They want someone, whether they agree with him or not, on different issues. If he says, I'm going to vote this way on issue A and this one on B, when it comes to A, you vote B, and B, you vote A, that's called hypocrisy. And people who support him can't stand for that. So when it comes to declaring Jerusalem as a capital, I think that's up to people who reside there and not an American president.
Okay.
But I think I don't even know, did he declare it as the capital, or did he say he was going to move the...
No, he declared it as the capital.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has the ability to do that. But
no, I thought well, that's the point. I mean, on what authority does he have the right to declare it the capital?
I don't know. Don't the Israeli people do that? I'm confused by the whole thing, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, they would be... I would think that they would have a higher priority and higher voice.
I don't know. Well, that's enough. I don't want to bore people with Donald Trump, but we're running out of time. I want to give you my quote of the week because I promised we would get back to the quote of the week. And the quote of the week is, a year from now, you may wish you had started today.
Oh, this is one of my best. Someone wants, yeah. Yep.
All right. So, guys, don't wait till next year. Start right now. Don't wait till New Year's Eve to do your New Year's Eve, to do your New Year's resolutions. Start now. If you have a vision, if you have a desire to do something, if you have an idea, do it now. Why wait? Right?
Yeah. So I know someone, Dave, who's I knew someone who once told me, they said, you know what, I should have been a doctor, but I didn't want to go through the extra years of school. And now that I'm 50 years old, a year is like a minute to this guy. So I should have just done it when I was young and had the energy and everything else.
Yeah, it's true.
4 years, 8 years, it all goes by anyway.
I breed snakes. It takes 3.5 years to get a boa constrictor female up to breeding age. So people say, I'm not going to buy this one because this project's going to take 3.5 years, and I don't have the time to waste for that. Meanwhile, 3 years goes by in like a blink of an eye, and then the person's like, the guy who bought the snake and took the chance and bred it now is producing babies already and selling them for $1,000 each. So don't wait. Do now. If you have an idea and you haven't, find a way to make it happen. Start the process going, because time flies and you will be pissed off that you didn't do it sooner. I guarantee you. It's amazing, how fast life goes, and the older you get, the faster it goes. Isn't that true? I can't believe my daughter's going to be born next week, or in a week and a half or something like that. It's just nuts to even think that. I feel like she just got pregnant, so it's great. You know what? The only thing that slows life down is school. It's elementary school, high school. When you're in school, right? Doesn't it seem like it's never going to end? Like 1 year is like 10 years. It feels like.
Dave, I was just thinking the other day. I send my 4-year-old to daycare 2 days a week, and I pick him up the other day, and I'm thinking this day must have been infinitesimally long for him, because I can remember in elementary school, right? You just between Thanksgiving, another 4 months, 4 weeks to Christmas break.
Yeah.
Every day was torture and long.
And
funny that you say that.
Yeah. Another thing I want to just say is I want to send my prayers out to all the people in California who are dealing with that fire out there. Holy mackerel! It's
crazy.
I hope Louis Uridel's Metroflex gym doesn't burn down. I know that.
No, don't kid.
Because I know he was
posting
about that. Yeah, it's scary.
You think it's related to global warming?
Didn't Trump say there's no global? Is he the one who says no global warming?
Yeah, he says
Bush said that. Yeah, Bush said there's no global warming either. Who knows? You know what? I think we have. I just think we have problems. We have disasters that happen, and I don't necessarily know.
I sent you the pictures today. Did I send you the pictures of the snow?
Up in
Maine?
Yeah, you did.
With the leaves.
Yeah.
It's December. Okay, we haven't had snow by Christmas for like the last 3 years.
Yeah,
4 years.
And every time we went over that, you said, "Well, global warming." But now you got snow.
Well,
so what does that throw a monkey wrench into that theory?
Well, that's why I took the picture. But the leaves have not fallen yet.
I know.
In other words, all the leaves should be off the trees in this area by...
They will be. They will be on Monday. They will be after the snow leaves. Well, I will say this. It's very cold here in Cape Coral. It's probably in the 40s.
What is it, 50?
It's probably in the 40s tonight. It was. Ooh. I had to put a sweatshirt on for the first time. And but I am happy to report that there is no snow here. And I don't think there will be snow here. So I'm very pleased to be down here and not up in Maine where it's freezing cold with the snow. So I'll take a week or two of a little chilliness down here. That's not going to really affect my life one bit. And so that's one of the great advantages of living in South Florida. That's for sure. All right, guys, we are out of time. A lot went on this past week, a lot of gossip and stuff like that. And once again, if any of you guys out there who do listen to this show and you're not subscribers of the RxMuscle YouTube channel, please go on there and subscribe. All those subscriptions motivate me to be more creative and to do more videos. And we're I don't know if we'll get it by the end of the year, but we're certainly closing in on 100,000 subscribers, which has been my goal for quite a while now. And I think that we're going to probably get it. Like I said, it might not be by the end of the year, but it certainly will be before the Arnold Classic. And we'll have a little celebration when that happens. For now, though, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.